everyone, and welcome to today's stream. I hope you can hear me okay and music levels are alright. They should be. I haven't changed them since last time, so there's no reason that they shouldn't be. Anyway, welcome to this day of art. And as you can see, today we're going to continue working on a piece I started last week. I believe exactly a week ago, on Wednesday last week. Yeah, they are a very cool elf rogue. Normally they've got these big old angelic wings that I believe are wings of flying rather than actually being from their body. But as I explained last week, I'm rendering the character and then adding the wings because I have to drastically change the shape of my canvas when it comes to adding the wings. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of what we're on about today. Anyway, you can probably notice that behind me there is a step ladder. There is paint kind of half painted on the walls. I'm still very much in the process of decorating this room, and we're getting there. It's just a bit of a gradual process, so please excuse the slightly messy state of the room. Hey, it's gonna look amazing when it's done. I just gotta get there. Anyway, thank you so much to Handos Black for following, and to Rebel, as always, for hosting. That is incredibly kind, so thank you. Decorating's going alright, yeah, it's been alright. We had like a big area of the wall behind me that needed to be repaired. So I learned to plaster this week. So I did a load of plastering 2 days ago. Gave it loads of time to dry. And today I sanded it all down, which was not fun for my throat, even though I was wearing a mask. And then I've waxed 2 coats of stain blocker over the top to hopefully like stop any potential future water damage coming through. But yeah, we got this. How many plants will there be in the end? Well, it's a shame you can't see just to my right are all my plant friends. In fact, I can introduce you to my newest friend. This is who arrived today. Hello. This is my very lovely fire flash spider plant. They are very nice. They're very, very nice. And yeah, they're a type of spider plant, which means they're super easy to take care of. This is a plant stream, by the way, now, I think. But they've got these gorgeous, you can probably see, the stems are this beautiful kind of bright orange colour. And it's just a really pretty, really cool looking plant. So, anyway, that was a small aside on plants. Yes, quietly Freya, I'm really looking forward to getting started this week on your lovely character. I've had some ideas. I've been kind of collecting reference images and ideas so I can get started, and yeah, should be ready to go in a couple of days. Cool. Anyway, let's focus back in on the present and work on this chap for today, this lovely elf. So, skin. What we're gonna do is, as you can see at the end of the last time we were streaming this gentleman, I had already started working in the shading and blending in some skin tones. So, I'm just going to carry on with that for now. Very gently introducing these colours. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of shadow coming down from the corner of the mouth there. And I'm going to blend in the shadows coming down the chin a little bit. Like so. And I'm just going to add a little bit here on the other forehead where the hair is, just obfuscating it a bit. Oh, your batch of mead, that's exciting. Brewing your own mead is very cool. If I didn't have already way too many hobbies, that would be something I'd be interested in. Alright, so I've got this slightly pinker skin tone, as you can see. I'm going to use this just to add a very slight bit of blush on the cheeks. Gives a bit more colour. Even though like this is more of a masculine presenting character who's not necessarily wearing makeup, people naturally have slightly like more blush kind of pinky colours in their cheeks anyway, which is why I'm introducing that now. Aimless Wanderings, thank you so much for the sub, that's so kind. Thank you. Subs, honestly, thank you so much. Subscriptions make a massive difference. That's the word I was looking for. I'm struggling today to do words, clearly. Yes, thank you so much. Ever so slightly. Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. This character promises to be a lot of fun, so let's all have fun together. Yay! Alright, we're going to bring in that slightly darker brown now and start to add very softly just a bit more shadow. There's going to be loads more in the neck, but I usually focus on the neck after I've done the face. I just like to add a bit of dark there to get it started. Oh dear. That's so cool. Fruit mead is so good. I remember at Empire last year, I'm sorry I'm already talking about Empire, but last time I went there was someone selling homebrewed mead and they had like glacé cherry flavoured mead, which sounds evil, right? Glacé cherries are like super preserved, super sweet cherries that have just been preserved in pure sugar. But it was the most delicious stuff, and let's just say it went down super easy. Because I love sweet sugary drinks. Ooh, blackcurrant, that sounds really nice. Oh, I think that's one I haven't tried. They also did, they had a pineapple mead, which I didn't actually try that one, but that was meant to be very good. I really like cherry mead. Cherry mead's my favourite. I had a big bottle of it from the last event. It's one of the things about Empire, you go there to buy all your artisan meads, right? But blackcurrant sounds really nice. Yeah, the pineapple was good. It was, because obviously mead is a honey-based drink. So, kind of honeyed pineapple was a good mix. Yeah, it is pretty strong. Usually, I don't actually drink very much. I'm not a big fan of alcoholic drinks, but mead, because it's so sweet and tastes of honey, which is legitimately, I put honey in almost every ingredient I cook. It's like in almost every meal I cook. It's my favorite cooking ingredient. So good. But yeah, I like trying different meads. Weirdly, they also had this cucumber mead, which was really, really refreshing. It's not something I'd really expect to be in a drink like that. Okay, gonna make some of this shading a little bit more gentle, and then introduce this dark brown to some other places. We're gonna want some, checking my reference, under the lip, like so, and that's gonna come up around that right hand side, because the right hand side is slightly more in shadow than the rest of the faces. Just gonna suggest a little bit of shadow cast by the nose in there, and then get a bit more of this dark shading up top. Alright, this is looking nice, coming along, nice and soft, that's how I want it. I'm just gonna draw darkness a little bit further along here. Just blending it in as we go, as always. It's like a bit of a push and a pull type game. Pulling colours along one way. In fact, I've just actually noticed a little area where the lines aren't quite right. Oh no. Let's just tidy this up. That's better. Really? Blackcurrant? Because like over here, like blackcurrant's in like every drink. Like blackcurrant squash is my childhood. Oh dear, that's a shame. I love blackcurrants. They're one of the few things I can actually grow. Well, like my family's, we had a little blackcurrant bush in our garden. Most things it's too cold for, but blackcurrants can actually grow. You don't get that many on the bush, but you get some. Blueberries was another thing actually. We managed to grow some last year. But now I have a garden of my own. I can actually grow my own plants. I just need to sort it out. I need some TLC. Cool. Anyway, there's kind of the introduction of that nice kind of dark brown coming in there. We are going to need some more of that darker tone. In fact, we're going to need to kind of keep inching towards darker colours as we go. Those are there. This bright kind of reddy brown is actually going to be for the lips. That's I dropped from the lips. For now, however, is this super dark? Yeah, that's pretty dark. Cool. We'll use this as our next step. Our next step towards the darkness. Hey, Cyber Spectre, welcome. I mean, apple and blackcurrant squash is still a staple in my house. That's my partner's favorite squash. apple and blackcurrant and summer fruit squash. Yeah. Yeah. We don't tend to have a lot of wild ones, but blackberries we do have a lot of wild. Especially when my parents live in the middle of nowhere in Devon. All of the verges and hedges have some form of brambles in, so blackberries are everywhere. Just gonna add a wee bit more dark on this side. And then a bit coming down the jawline, just to create a slightly stronger jaw going in there. Yeah, they are kind of invasive in some places. It's certainly an absolute ordeal to try and keep them under control. Again, where my folks live, because they live very rurally, like every year they have to tackle the brambles and try and beat them back. Sometimes it takes my eyes a while to adjust when I'm painting. It can be difficult to see the differences. Need to zoom in a bit, I think. That or I'm just tired. That could also be the case. Like I say, I was up on a ladder plastering earlier today. So that's probably why I feel a little bit sleepier than normal. But the fun don't stop because I am DMing tonight, so we don't stop around here. Alright, let's just blend in some of this a bit. Hey, Raid123, welcome to the stream. Okay, now we've kind of got it blended in nice. That's better. There we go. Cool. What campaign am I running? Yeah, this is my Icewind Dale game. It's actually, I haven't played or DM'd in over a month, so I hope I can remember how D&D works. It should be fine. Although, speaking of Icewind Dale, I don't suppose, does anyone know if you can get a nice print of the cover art for Icewind Dale? Because once this room's all decorated, I want to get some cool D&D art to put up. And I really love the cover art for Icewind Dale. I want it on my wall. So if anyone knows if you can get a nice print of that one, I would love to hear about it. Oh, the collector's edition is gorgeous. I only have the normal edition, but I do have the, where is it? Oh, it's all the way over there. I have the Brown and Frost Maiden like dice set, which comes in the box with the same style of art on it. So pretty. I did get the alt cover for Candlekeep. Yeah, I couldn't resist. I love that style with all of the gilding and kind of gold embossing. It's so pretty. Now I just need an excuse to run one of the little stories from Candlekeep. I probably will try and weave one into my Icewind Dale game. Oh yeah, Aimless Wanderings. I get the same thing. This is why usually my backgrounds are off-white. They are... this one actually could be a bit darker. This one's very pale for me. Usually I go up to like a sepia and get a slightly greyish cream to work with. Kind of what we'd call magnolia in the house decorating world. I've done a lot of decorating lately. My mind's kind of in a weird plastering soup today. Oh dear. Oh no! But oh, that's so sad. It got sent to the wrong country. Goodness gracious! I'm surprised the shipping wasn't massively different. Yeah, I can't paint on a bright white background. Even when I was at school, we used to have a choice between when we were given like our sketchbooks at the start of the year, because on my secondary school we'd start every term with like a fresh sketchbook for like the new modules and all that stuff. But when we used to get our term kind of or semester sketchbooks, there used to be a choice between white paper sketchbooks or off-white, like cream paper. And everyone would always dash to grab the cream ones, so you had to like get in there really fast. No one wanted the white pages. I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of shadow there on the nose before I actually like properly get into the nose shading fun. But at this point, I'm just gonna bring in some proper dark shadow just here in the arch of the eyes. Here at the corner. And just under the chin. Just so we've got some nice harsh shadows in there. And next, we are going to start adding some highlights. So I'm going to grab a new... Oh, I should have named this. That was bad of me. Nope, not skimp. Well, no one knows what that is. And make a new layer on top. Make a clipping mask so we don't mess with what we've already done. Oh, Discord. Yeah, absolutely. I have Discord. I'll drop a link in chat for you. But yeah, there we go. We both did it at the same time. There is a link to the Discord for you. Oh yeah, we always used to use grey paper or like we used to often use like sugar paper when we did life drawing, so you could use white chalks to do highlights and stuff. I love being able to go light and dark. It's the best. Oh, itchy face. Okay, let's start with these highlights. I'm going to assume that our original colour was that one, which means I'm going to want to use this for some highlights. So, I mean, you'll see that with my painting as well. When I put down a base layer, it's always in the middle because I like to be able to control my highlights and my shadows kind of going both ways. It's like a weird spectrum, I guess. Anyway, let's pop in the highlights because that's often the part where the portrait starts to really take off. And I always start with the forehead because the forehead usually is one of the lightest parts of the face, as it's like a nice big billboard that reflects the most light. Huh. Ever so slightly, that's really weird. Oh. Well, if you didn't have a sub before, you do now. Thank you so much, Rebel, for the gift sub. Hopefully, you should be able to log on and have a look at it now. Cool. Anyway, let's just gently whack in some highlights. I'm going to make them a bit more subtle for the moment. Then go back to the light because I want to just grab a point of light on these cheekbones. Everyone knows that elves have very pointed cheekbones. And that's not true. Elves can have whatever cheekbones you want. But this chap has nice angled cheekbones. And then I'm also gonna drop a bit on the chin. Smaller brush than that actually. And then we are gonna have some on the lip. Coming at that. Also, if you hear background noise, it's just my partner getting home from work. Don't worry, I'm not being burgled. Probably. Might be being burgled. All the valuable stuff's in here, so... Yeah, subs do kind of dwindle quietly. I always have to redo my subs, and then I'm like, oh wait, do I even have the sub or not? Like, there's not a quick and easy way to check, is there? Alright, so now I'm just gently blending in this highlight up here, eyedropping from the layer below to get a nice smooth kind of integration. Oh yeah, hopefully it lets you in soon. Sometimes the Discord has been throwing a wobbly recently. A few people have kind of been unable to see stuff, and I think we came to the conclusion it was actually on Discord's end, and sometimes it just takes a while. I think the same thing happened to Gzilla a while back. And yeah, it's not very helpful, but unfortunately, there isn't much we can do about it other than wait for Discord to sort itself out. Okay, look, it's looking nice. Let's just blend in this forehead one a bit, and then we'll blend in the chin one. One of the nice things about doing these full body pieces is because you have to zoom in quite a long way to get to the face. It means they're slightly at a smaller scale. So blending is a little bit easier. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Discord's getting too big for its boots after that sale. Okay, now let's blend in the chin. Also, I'm so excited. I did so much filming last week for my new YouTube video on basically making a simple beginner kind of LARP dress. And I think it's going to be good. I'm really nervous because I hate looking at my face on a camera. But I think it's coming along okay. And most importantly, the video and audio quality is nice, and that matters. Hey, Ori Griffin, thank you so much for the sub, and just thank you. Very, very kind. And thank you as well to Xander Keys for the follow. Oh, thank you so much, Rebel. Yeah, I'm very nervous, as I've mentioned, but I am also excited. I just gotta hope that the damn dress fits me, because I'm kind of filming as I'm sewing, so I haven't actually finished the dress. Thank you so much as well to Aurora Toast for the follow. Thank you. Cool. So we're nearly done with blending in this layer. I'm just gonna soften. Unfortunately, we've got a few too many visible paintbrush marks just here, so we're gonna just blend those in. There we go. And you can already see how much difference the highlight layer makes, just to the overall kind of feel of the face. We are going to want a tiny bit of highlight on the other cheek, because even though it's technically in shadow, there are still elements that pick up light, such as cheekbones. This is a slightly more pinkish grey colour than the more yellow highlight tone on the left hand side, and that's because the shadows get colder as the face is kind of turned away from the viewer. Oh dear, my throat. Hey Shutterfinch, welcome! It's been ages since we've played Destiny. I've just been so busy lately, I haven't really been able to play much. But yeah, cool. So there is our first level of highlights. I'm actually going to go in with this brush, this colour, to add some even brighter ones, just in a few select places, such as the brow here. We'll have some coming down from the inside of the eye there, and that's kind of it actually. There might be a tiny little bit on the lip, very gently there, but we don't want to overdo the bright highlights or they kind of lose their subtlety, which is kind of the point. Cool, so let's just blend this bit in, get rid of some construction lines in a minute, which will be nice. Always a satisfying thing to do. The buttons on my damn shirt just keep catching on my desk, it's annoying. Okay, and then a little bit of blending here, and we can move on to the next thing. So shame Argwin isn't in chat today because this is their character. Yeah, something house move. Yeah, it's been a lot. Okay, there we go. There's the face coming along nicely. I'm just going to save because we do not want to lose everything we've been working on. We really don't. Ooh, itchy nose. Hey, Angelus Lucis, thank you so much for the sub. Yay, more sub. Thank you so much. What shall we do next? I think we'll go with my usual flow and do the nose next. Actually, I'm doing a think, which is very dangerous. I said I was going to remove some construction lines, so I will. I'm going to get rid of these because the eye bags actually needs to be a little bit more subtle than that. And it means I can just go back in here and smaller brush. Make some of these lines a wee bit more gentle. Much smaller brush. I'm thinking about it. Just to add a little couple of details here and there on this part of the face. There we go. That's looking nice. That's looking nice. And just generally softening places where the line art's quite heavy. We don't really need it to be so heavy. I'm on the wrong layer actually. We need to make an overlines layer. Time has come. There we go. A little bit more gentle now. This chap needs a softer touch when it comes to the eyeliner. And I'm just going to go over the lines in a few places just to get that edge looking better. And there we go, that's a nice little bit of detail. Oh, your puppy sounds so adorable. I'm so jealous, but also I knew I wouldn't, you know. At the moment, we're not ready for a puppy yet, so gotta be patient. Alright, let's do the nose. Most of you are probably aware of my style of noses I like to call the Animal Crossing method, because we start with a big old pink triangle right in the center of the face, a la Animal Crossing. Like so. There we go, that's our first step. And then what we do next is we're just gently going to blend the outside edges of this triangle into the surrounding skin, so it's kind of nicely integrated with the rest of the base. Now, let me see, does this chap have... Oh, he doesn't actually have a super bright stripe going up the side. But does he? He should really, shouldn't he? Because of the way this light's going. Often, if you've got light, in this case, coming in from over here, you will tend to have bright, kind of like coming sideways across up towards the bridge of the nose from the cheek. This is because often these bits of the nose are quite, I hate to say it, but they're kind of greasier than the rest of the face, which means they reflect light very easily. So again, we're just gonna blend that in a bit. Like so. Oh my goodness, no. I know I say it a lot. Anyway, next thing we need to add some shadow underneath. So, oh god, I cannot not hear myself saying so now. What have you done to me? Small brush. We're just going to add a hard shadow, going basically just outlining the underside of the nose, really. And what I'm going to do is it's actually going to come all the way across and join up here. And I'm just going to add a bit more shadow here because the nose is casting its shadow on this side. Yeah, it's looking nice. Cool. Whoop. Headphones getting stuck. So now I'm just going to blend this in a little bit. Pick a brush for that, I think. There we go. And then we're just going to pop in kind of the top part of the nostril, the shadow that is kind of popping in there. Big brush just to really soften that shadow, and then blend it in. Maybe saying like so isn't a bad thing. Maybe it makes me sound like Captain Picard. Make it so. I'm just going to join this shadow very gently in there. And then we have the basic shape of the nose all down. Cool. So with that, the next thing to do is to add the diamond. What is the diamond? I hear you cry. The diamond is a kind of plateau of light on the tip of the nose, which is often where you get the brightest highlights, because it kind of catches the light nicely there. So I pop that in, then we introduce this bright colour to the bridge and paint a stripe coming down, gently kind of blending in the sides as we go. And then we kind of look at our reference, decide if we need to do more blending, because I've decided we do. And then we introduce a light color to this nostril, if we decide we need to, which we do. And then obviously just blending that in. Okay. And then we can add bright highlights as and when we think they should go. In this case, we are going to have one on the bridge and just a little bit on this side of the diamond. And then in this case, the edges are going to be blended in for this one. And I'm probably also just going to bring the light of the brow down a bit. This chap hasn't got a heavy brow, so it's not going to be too much of a shadow there. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to maybe blend around the end of the nose a tiny bit more. Thanks everyone for being so helpful in chat with Discord stuff. It can be a bit of a pain. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask. Has anyone else pre-ordered the new Monster Hunter game? Because I'm really excited and I'm hoping to get my copy tomorrow or Friday. You can ride puppers in this one. I'm so excited. Really looking forward to that one. I actually really love the Monster Hunter franchise. It's like the game I'm not very good at. Well, I got pretty good at Monster Hunter World actually. I got that. It was a bit of a steep learning curve, but I got there in the end. I got pretty decent at it. I basically beat that. I beat the game and I beat the expansion, the Iceborne. Shinies Layer on the Avalanche Layer. So looking forward to this a lot. Although it's been a while since I played on a handheld, so that's going to be interesting. I did have Monster Hunter 4 on the Nintendo 3DS like ages ago, but I never got on with the DS controls very well. I found it quite like fiddly. I did hear from a lot of folks that the thing to do was to get there was like an attachment for the 3DS which made it a lot more comfortable to game with, but I never got it. But I did also play Monster Hunter World on the mouse and keyboard, which I was told was the hardest way to do it, so hopefully I'll be alright coming into Rise. Okay, I'm actually going to add a wee bit of light coming underneath there. Like so. Oh no, I said it again. Ah! Going crazy. Oh, this is the Super Happy song, isn't it? And now I'm basically just adding details on the overlines layer at this point. Just adding a bit of depth and trying to minimize the line art in a few places. Such as here, where we're just going to basically blend away the line art there because we don't need it to be so heavy. And over here, there we go. Nice soft looking nose. Lethariel, thank you so much. 9, yes indeed, 9 months. Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask, how do you set the atmosphere of your Icewind Dale game? Because it seems to run atmosphere. Yeah, so I have seen the film The Icewind Dale, like was heavily inspired by, which is The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. I can't remember which year it was, 1980 something. And that film has such good atmosphere. It's fantastic if you've seen it to kind of build up that slow creeping horror and paranoia feeling. But I also like to contrast it with lighter moments. Like in my my game, for example, I built an NPC called Granny Snowpaw, who is a shameless ripoff of what's her name? The granny cat in Monster Hunter Iceborne, who cooks you the amazing food in the really cold place. I basically put her in my game. She is a big tabaxi lady who makes great food and is like the grandma to one of the towns. So 1982, thank you very much. So I like to contrast the horror with light, wholesome moments. Yeah, the Grand Meowster chef, yes, she is in my Icewind Dale game. She is a canon character in my setting, because why should she not be? And she went down so well with my players. And moments like that, which are wholesome and allow you to kind of create reasons for why they really want to save the Icewind Dale, I think, are just as important as the horror. There's no point making the setting entirely hostile and painful and depressing, because at the end of the day, the party's gonna be like, why the hell do we want to save this place if it's already shit, you know? So I really wanted to create an atmosphere that you'd want to protect. So I've added a lot to the NPCs in the various cities. Yeah, exactly. The kobolds I actually made very sympathetic because they're just trying to survive this brutal place as well. So they needed somewhere warm because, you know, at the end of the day, they're kind of reptiles. But they needed somewhere to seek shelter. The whole kind of bit with the kobolds in the mine, my party resolved it by kind of negotiating with the town speaker so that the kobolds could live and work alongside the rest of the townsfolk. Because I don't subscribe to kind of creatures in D&D being predisposed to be a certain way. I'd much more nurture rather than nature. But yeah, in terms of for the creepy horror feel, watching the film The Thing is a great way to get that vibe. I will warn you, The Thing is very violent, gory, and graphic, and there is a significant amount of nasty stuff which happens to dogs. And that's something I really struggle with in films, when dogs get harmed nastily. So you might want to skip that bit. But it's very, very good, very atmospheric. Yeah. In terms of, I've added a lot of extra subplots to my game. I don't think any of my party are in chat, so I can talk about it. One of the characters is the son of an individual from one of the 10 towns who was sent out as a sacrifice to Auril. And obviously, a lot of the sacrifices to Auril end up as Cold Light Walkers, which I think are one of the coolest additions, one of the coolest monsters in the setting. Also looked to me like they were directly inspired by the film poster for The Thing, which ironically has nothing to do with the actual content of the film. It's like a poster of this dude on a snowbank, and his face is just this blinding white light emanating out from the snow hood, and that never happens in the film. I guess it's meant to mean, like, you can't tell who is who and someone's infected and blah, but it's never really referenced in the film itself, but is almost a direct parallel to the aesthetic of the Cold Light Walkers in Icewind Dale. And there you go, there's some trivia for today. But yeah, it is a very, very good film. And even if the dog isn't a dog at that point, it doesn't matter. It's still quite triggering to some people. So do bear that in mind if you want to watch it. Yeah, exactly. I think it's incredibly important that your players have a light to be their reason for saving this place. You know, Blizzard and Avalanche mechanics. Honestly, I don't really run the Blizzard mechanics the way they are in the book. I kind of use them more as a narrative device. If I decide I want there to be a blizzard, I narrate a blizzard and they deal with it. I don't tend to roll for that kind of thing. I make it up on the fly. If I feel the story would be benefited by a sudden blizzard, I create one. I also don't tend to do random rolls for encounters that much. I do sometimes. If they're doing a long journey, I'll do one. But on the third session, my party were level 2 and they ran into Aviatrix, the ancient white dragon. And that was a fantastic moment because they were little level 2s. There was suddenly an enormous white dragon right there, and they dealt with it by trying to kill the dragon at level 2. Obviously, said dragon was not bothered by any of this and just kind of pieced out because they were below her notice, really. Oh, excuse me, I've got plaster in my throat. But it was still a very fun encounter to spring on my baby party. Okay, anyway, let's look at these lips. We're going to work on top lip first. I'm just going to add some basic shading to get it started. Oh yeah, one of my party has that as well, Border the Lass. I have a cleric of the Morning Lord who is a Midwinter's Child. At least that's what they think. I've done a bit of a twist on it, where they're actually not Midwinter Child, but Oriel has kind of appeared in their dreams and gaslit them into them thinking that they are, when actually it's a blessing by their own deity, by the Morning Lord. Which they're gradually going to find out is why Oriel's interested in them, because she knows that this character with this blessing of the lights and of warmth is obviously a big danger to her, because that's kind of directly what she doesn't stand for. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you go on websites like Does the Dog Die, it can probably give you timestamps for when that stuff happens, and you can just directly not watch that bit. Because it's a shame, because it was for me the most impactful part of the movie, because it's when shit starts happening, and it's such a sudden, oh my god, that it's quite impactful. It also was a bit impactful in an unpleasant way. So if you just want to watch it for the atmosphere, then you can absolutely skip that particular scene. Yeah, they don't set up loads of emotion between you and the dogs, but they're still there and they're still not happy, so it makes you unhappy. Oh, good luck, Silye. Yeah, I mean, it's like I say, it's an experience of a movie. They showed it at our local art house cinema when I was at uni on Halloween. And I'm so bad at watching horror. I'm really bad at and we were sitting right up front, and I was just shaking. Even though it's not really considered a horror movie by a lot of people, it's kind of more of a thriller, sci-fi thriller kind of jam. I found it horrifying. I'm a baby when it comes to scary stuff. This is the thing, I love to put scary stuff in my D&D games. I love experiencing scary stuff in D&D games, because for me the difference with D&D is I'm in control. I can directly affect the situation however I want, and that makes me cope with it a lot better. Whereas if I'm watching film or even playing a video game, set things are going to happen, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't react naturally. I hate most horror movies because they're so ridiculous in how the people react. Also, a lot of horror movies are grossly misogynistic and racist, so that's my other deal with horror movies in general. But in terms of tabletop, there's a lot more control, there's a lot more kind of care, like, you know what your triggers are, your DM knows, so you can have a really fun, scary experience without it being, impacting you in bad ways. Yeah, jump scares, I cannot handle them. When I was at uni, we had like a game night where we played Five Nights at Freddy's, like back when it first came out. And when it got to my turn, I was just like, literally physically like shaking. I couldn't deal with it. I was absolutely terrified because we had all the lights off and on a big screen as well, so that didn't help. But yeah, I'm pretty weak when it comes to horror content. But at that point, I was also friends with people who kind of made me play it. It wasn't particularly healthy at the time. So, know where your boundaries are, and don't let people force you to cross them. That's my biggest advice when it comes to horror. Alright, we're getting there with these lips. I don't want them to be too rosy, otherwise we're getting a bit too feminine. This character is more masculine presenting, so... At the same time, we do need there to be some tone here, so... Yeah, exactly, that Curse of Stride is great fun, but that's, what Session 0 is for. Work out what's for you, what you want to avoid, and you'll have a wonderful time. Unfortunately, I haven't really... This is my problem with VTM. I love VTM. I love the horror of VTM. But I've played with far too many parties that didn't really consider each other's feelings on certain subject matters, like really heavy stuff. Didn't check in, didn't make sure people were okay afterwards. So now I'm very, very picky about who I play Vampire the Masquerade with. Yeah, that's it. Aimless Wanderings. Like, you are way more vulnerable when you're watching a movie because you can't stop it. You can't kind of retcon. You can't change things, and it's personally I find it far less enjoyable of an experience, which is why I don't really watch much horror stuff. I like when I'm frightened. I like to have some semblance of control. My other problem is, a lot of horror movies, when like horrible gruesome murders happen, it leaves me feeling super on edge and aggressive for some reason. And then I get stuck in this mindset for like the rest of an evening and I can't calm down. I'm always on edge, ready to deck something. And I don't like feeling like that. Honestly, stuff like Game of Thrones used to do the same thing to me. That's why I stopped watching it. It just left me feeling on edge, unhappy, and aggressive. None of those things are things I like to feel on my normal like time off. Yeah, it is fine. Like the whole fight and flight thing. Like I get that I'll just be in that limbo for a whole evening, and it just ruins my day. Speaking of limbo, these lips are giving me the runaround. Oh yeah, so I'm actually watching Sabrina. I find Sabrina more ridiculous than anything, but it's kind of like when I used to watch Buffy. My main problem with right now with Sabrina, we just started watching season 4, is that she's so completely unlikable at this point that I don't care what happens to her. I'm just rooting for the other characters. I'm kind of rooting for like her aunts. Like I'm more interested in their stories than I am in Sabrina right now. Yeah, so I'm, you know, when it comes to fight or flight reactions, I think I'm very fighty, and I get incredibly defensive, and, like I say, like, quick to lash out, which is why, like, I don't like doing haunted houses. I did, a few years ago, went to, I think it was Alton Towers? I get it confused with Thorpe Park. It's basically a theme park here in the UK, and there was a thing called the Nemesis experience, which was basically like Alien. You went into like a lab, there was an alien egg, lights went off, you dropped down. It's this whole palaver. It is Alton Towers, yeah. And you basically have to run out of the compound that you've been locked in, essentially. And as you're running out, there are employees dressed as like infected alien zombies, I think, that jump out of you around dark corners, and I just have to not hit them because I get so, like, I'll just go, ah! And, like, not even necessarily with fists, I'll just try to, like, whack something with my hands. So, I try not to do those things because I don't like how I get when I'm in the middle of them, right? I don't want to, like, do something really embarrassing. Because I know what I'm like, you know? I'm also quite strong, so I'm also quite a lot stronger than I look, so people tend to be surprised if I whack them. Oh no! That sounds awful. I'd hate that if my friends kept jumping out of me in costumes. I think someone would get whacked. Yeah, the punch reaction. It's a very specific sort of the fight or flight. Alright, we're getting there now. We're nearly done with these lips. I just need to add a little bit more shadow in a few places. But we're almost there, which is great, because, like I said, they give me the runaround. But sometimes you gotta put a bit more detail into something until you get it the way you really like it. Whoops, that's not correct at all. What am I doing? Okay, cool. Nice. So with that, I'm just gonna do a few alterations here and there. My art style has changed up a tiny bit recently. I'm starting to use the overlines layer much more, so my pieces end up looking a bit less line arty, or at least the full painterly rendered pieces do. And I'm quite enjoying that. It's a bit different, and I've been liking that as a style choice. Do I want to put a bit of light in top lip? I probably do. I guess actually the exception to the horror for video games actually is if it's... Oh, overlines. Overlines is basically the layer I have that goes on top. You can kind of see it's above the line art in my list of layers. It means that I'm painting over the line art, so the line art's disappearing and it's looking more of a painterly style, basically. Okay, next up, after I finish lips, I tend to move on to eyes. So we will do his eyes next. I'm just gonna double check what color his eyes are. Does it say on here what color the eyes are? Oh no! I can't. Can I zoom right into this thing? It's a very small reference image. Okay. Okay, they look like they're pale aqua, which is lovely. I love that color for eyes. Very nice, very nice. Cool. But for now, we just need to do a little bit more detail on the eyes themselves. And don't forget to say thank you very much for the reminder. I had this the other night. My computer crashed, sad, after I'd been working on something for ages and I lost about an hour's work, and I just like, why can't I remember to save frequently? Why can't I do this? Why can't I drum this into my head? And I'm starting to think it's ADHD related, because I have so many short-term like memory problems, to be honest. All right, let's use this opportunity to get that really nice dark tone in the arch of the eye there. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's nice. And the same thing over here. I was wondering if that's amazing. See, this was my problem. Like, I watched a lot of films that I was not comfortable watching, that have honestly left like lasting impressions on me, which has spoiled a lot of things, due to a combination of I studied film at uni, and they don't, at least I hope they don't know if they do now, they don't give you any sort of trigger warnings or content warnings before making you watch some of the most messed up shit when it comes to film studies. And I appreciate that like some of them might be masterpieces, doubtful when it came to a few of them. But I feel like you should at least put up content warnings so that students who've had certain experiences know what they're getting into. Oh, they do? That's wonderful, because, yeah, I'm pleased they do, because some things there were a few things when I was at uni people had to leave. And I studied animation at uni. I didn't actually study normal film studies. And some of the things that you can achieve with animation can be, in my opinion, more traumatizing than straight up filmed content. Oh, there's some weird stop motion out there, guys. Truly weird. Alright, that's kind of the surrounding area for the eyes. Let's add in the actual eye bits themselves. I'm going to start with I'm going to go with my usual route. Yeah, we're going to start with a very dark brownish purple. Oh, that's really good. I'm pleased that you get content warnings for yours. I think that should be how they do it. Where I went, we didn't get nothing. There was one or two things that were incredibly graphic where they did say that this is going to be graphic, don't watch it. But it doesn't really give you much to work off of there if you've got specific triggers. Okay, so there's our base level for the eye. I'm just gonna make sure it's fully opaque. Making sure that is now alpha locked, and then we're slowly gonna work our way up the spectrum, lightening the colors as we do so. We're gonna use a big brush to just really gently start adding light to everywhere but the most innermost nooks and crannies. Oh, Old Boy. Yeah, Old Boy was one of the ones that, funnily enough, my ex was obsessed with. Basically all that kind of genre. Yeah, we watched, there's an animated film called A Waltz with Bashir, which is a war movie which was pretty nasty. Not necessarily nasty, but just incredibly heavy with a lot of difficult topics. Some others I can't remember the name of that were just weird short films, like really trippy stuff that got nasty, and they always get weirdly kind of like, they cross some lines, you know. Funnily enough, almost always directed by white guys. But anyway, enough about dreary, unhappy topics. I'm very pleased that they are changing it though to make things a little bit less difficult for people who aren't expecting to be faced with nasty things out of nowhere, you know? Okay, just slowly building up the lights of the eyes. Now we're at the point where we can kind of go in with a smaller brush, tidy up the edges. Like so. Alright, we've got some nice whites going on there. Oh, my ears. You know, I need a pair of headphones that's built with people who wear glasses in mind, because my goodness. Oh, was Raya and the Last Dragon good? Because, I'm probably not going to pay the extra money to view it until it comes out, for not with the extra subscription cost. But it does look pretty, and I have heard good things about it. I know there were some doubts, and I know there are still quite a lot of issues with it, of course. But I've heard that a lot of people were pleasantly pleased. Okay, let's go for these nice aqua-coloured eyes. We're going to start with a deep kind of bluey green. In fact, we're going to start from green and work our way towards blue. I think that sounds like a good idea. Oh, you enjoying it? Oh, lovely. I'm pleased you enjoy Avatar. Avatar's good fun. I watched Over the Moon last week, and oh, that movie was freaking adorable. I didn't know, I kind of had known about it for a while, but I don't know much about it other than it was really cute. Made me kind of like that bittersweet, happy, sad, the same kind of feeling you get from a lot of Ghibli films. It was very nice. Also, the music was really pretty. Okay, I'm just going to, again, blend in, give this guy a little bit of smoky eyeshadow. We're on the overlines there, aren't we? Cool, now we can add the pupil. Like so. Oh, and I'm saying it again. And then we're just going to create kind of a dark gradient that just blends the pupil in with the rest of the eye. Like, not like so, I gotta not say that anymore, I'm not allowed. Chat told me I wasn't allowed to say it anymore. Okay, and once we've done that, he's looking a tiny bit cross-eyed. Not happy with that. Don't want cross-eyed elf boy. Might be because the eye has been slightly cut off by the nose. Let's see if we can salvage that. Could always do some liquefied jiggery pokery on it, but I'd rather not have to. Maybe we need a bit more darkness in the other corner. Ooh, a horror-themed Towdery game. That sounds fun. Best of luck with that one. I must admit, my Frost Maiden game is actually set in Wildmount. Because my friends and I love the Wildmount setting. So we just kind of, I adapted the story to work there, and it actually did work there very nicely, so. Alright, this will be fine. We'll move on from here. Cool, so let's start adding some more colour to these eyes. We're going to move up towards that lovely aqua tone. Starting with a kind of middling teal. I'm just going to basically add this to the entire lower section of the eye. I definitely want to play in a Wildmount game. Obviously I'm running this one and I am playing in another one, but I'm sad because I haven't been able to play D&D for like a month now. It's sad. It's been too long. Alright, there we go. Eyes are coming together now. Much happier with that. So, with that being said, let's add some nice bright aqua to the middles. Hi, GoJG, welcome. Lovely to have you here as always. Oh, I was looking at houseplants again this morning. It's because it's clearly become an obsession. And there's this absolutely beautiful variant of philodendron called Philodendron Prince of Orange. And it's this lovely plant that when it grows new leaves are this bright fiery orange colour. And it's just so nice, but it's rare. I don't know why I do this to myself, I have enough hobbies. Yeah, it's going really well. Was that a Bulbasaur emote? That's gorgeous. I love the Bulbasaur. Oh, what size canvas do I use? For this piece, currently, this canvas is 3.6K pixels, always at 300 pixels per inch. And I find that's enough, that's kind of big enough to be able to get the detail I need. I love my plants so much already. Like, I started collecting houseplants like, what, 2 weeks ago, and now I'm just in deep. Hey, thank you so much to Letherial for the sub. I'm sorry I missed that earlier. And Spellhawks Press for the follow. Okay, with these eyes, is there anything else we want to do? We do want to add, we need some shadow to come back on this side. But along here, I'm actually going to do something I'm kind of experimenting with, which is getting rid of the hefty black ring. I want my eyes to be softer, so I think this might be a way to achieve that. Yeah, it definitely looks a bit better to me. What I'm going to do is we're also going to add some little flecks. Nope. 3 is going to have to be these for this. Just want a bit of texture in there. And there we go. Lovely. Okay, so it's time to make Elaran's favourite layer, but unfortunately I don't think they're here right now. It's the Shinies Layer. Because we need to add a nice little glint in these eyes. Yes, the lag has been a lot better. I haven't actually installed the RAM yet. I've been keeping an eye out for a good deal. Obviously, computer parts are somewhat hard to come by right now because, as I'm sure most people are aware of, the whole NFT and crypto thing going on right now means people are kind of buying up PC parts like crazy. One of you wonderful people did actually link me a very good deal earlier this week that I might end up going for. Awesome. Okay, there we have the eyes for this gentleman. So I think we are ready to move on to some of the other skin rendering, which means we can finish the neck, ears, and hands, and then hopefully we can get on to doing the hair as well. So going back down to this itchy weekend, we wanna, yeah, we might as well merge that down. Doesn't really matter. Let's start with the neck, shall we? I'm just gonna bring in this nice shaded skin color and start kind of just adding it to places like here. And then blending where blending is required. Grabbing a lighter tone to go kind of the muscle that comes up that part of the neck is always tends to be a little bit lighter. Oh, I can't tell you how excited I am for my Arm Street dress to arrive. I folded and bought a dress a few weeks ago that I've had my arm on for about 3 years now, for LARP and stuff. And I'm very excited. And now I've got my camera, I'm planning to hopefully try and go to lots of LARP events starting probably mid this year and next year, and do lots of kind of videos where I'll talk about different LARP systems and my experiences at the games. Kind of not like a review, but like kind of a summary of different LARPs, you know, because I love it. It's such a fun thing. And let's save. Thank you very much, GHarvey24. I had not saved for a little while, it is true. Just gonna add a little bit of a darker shadow down here, making sure it's not going over there too much. And then of course, it does need to be blended in. Blend. Okay, there we go. It's a nice deep shadow. Now, let's... This is looking a bit weird to me along here. You know, I kind of think it needs some overline streaming. The line doesn't look straight enough. There we go. Rebel, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a lovely week and hopefully I will see you on Friday. Okay, let's tackle the ear now. What's my canvas size? My canvas size for today is 3.6K with 300 DPI. And the height is just over 5K, which is a lot, but that's kind of how big it's gotta be to get them deets in. Did I really just say deets? How embarrassing for me. No worries, Observer. Thank you for following, by the way, and thank you also to Chaxter007 for following as well. Thank you very much. Just gonna gently kind of shade around the ears. Just gonna grab a slightly lighter tone as well. Oh, thank you so much, Cyber Spectre. Yeah, this character has been really nice to paint, actually. Let's grab a really nice dark tone. And then a bright one. I'm going to jump up on overlines for this, just to add some highlights to some aspects of the ear. And then I'm just going to blend them in a little bit. Oh, thank you so much, GoIT. That's very, very kind. I would like to say I am super confident. I will tell you it is all entirely a farce. I never know what I'm doing. I wing it and hope for the best. That's my art motto. But no, thank you very much. That is very, very kind. Okay, there's an ear. Let's save again. Because now we need to just give the hands a little bit of the rendering treatment. We're going to start dark and work light because they're lower down on the body. Don't ask me why I do it that way, I just kind of do. Whoops, let's make sure alpha is turned on. Must be a bit too dark of a starting point. Let's just grab, yeah, we'll start from there. Then we can go dark and light at the same time. You're all so kind, thank you so much. Okay, so again, making sure that alpha channel is still locked, we'll start with our darks. So grabbing a really nice rich dark brown, just gonna go in and add shadows where they're most obvious. Yeah, so that's what the alpha channel does pretty much. It basically makes it so I can be pressing down and scribbling outside, but if I'm not within the bounds of where I've already put down paint, it won't make a mess. It's really useful for keeping things tidy and speeding up time because you don't always have to stay within your lines basically. Yeah. Oh, Leza, thank you so very much for the bits. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and hopefully see you on Friday. And when it comes to shading, even if I don't entirely know what I'm doing or I'm kind of making it up as I go along, I find the best thing to do is start with places that would obviously have shadows. So in this case, the side that's more turned away from the light and the bits that are directly shaded by the cuff of the sleeve. And from there, just work outwards to places you're less sure of but are probably shadowed. And just kind of go on a priority. I just go on a priority list of stuff I definitely know to stuff I'm not sure about. And usually by the time I get to the stuff I'm not sure about, I've already filled in most of the area, so that's kind of like my way of thinking about doing that kind of thing. I did that yesterday, Cyber Spectre. I was sure it was Friday yesterday, and I was like, no, you've only made it to Tuesday. You can't stop yet. It's not Friday. You got so much more to do. Now, I would love to stream for a bit longer tonight like I did on Friday, but unfortunately I do have D&D in approximately an hour and a bit. So I'll probably stream until past, so about another quarter of an hour or so. Okay, now we can go ahead and add some lighter colours. Lighten up the hand a little bit. Again, the most obvious place there'd be light would be here. This is where the light's going to hit. And then from there, we can just add a bit as we go across, winging it basically. And at that point, then you just all blend it in together and it usually looks okay. Thank you, Orange Juice God. Thank you so much for joining me today. And yeah, see you next time. Hope you have a great D&D game. There we go, there is a basically shaded hand. Whoops, that's not the right brush. What I might do is I might add a tiny bit of side light. Just coming in there. So it's not completely dark on that side. Yep, that seems to come along quite nicely. Now we can shade the other one. Yeah, Alpha Lock's great. I use it for everything now. It's funny, I still remember like DeviantArt tutorials that I clung to when I was like 16 and learning digital art for the first time. They really have stuck with me after all the years. For reference, I say that like I'm some wizened elder. I am only 25. There's a lot of folks who have been doing this a lot longer than I have and know what they're doing a lot more than I do. But no, there are tutorials on DeviantArt I use from artists I looked up to that I still remember 10 years later. Ooh, Tiefling Swordsbard, that's super cool. I'm actually in the process of designing another D&D character myself. I might be playing in some more games coming up in the next few months. And I just felt super inspired by all the pretty colours in the plants that I've been getting. Sorry, I'm going back to plants again. So I want to design potentially an Eladrin inspired by kind of tropical plants and like well-known indoor kind of house plants. And yeah, they'll probably just be called straight up Calathea, but I love bright tropical. I've come to embrace the fact that I love bright, colourful characters. So that's probably all of my OCs at this point forward would probably be super bright and sunny. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a superior teaching tool. There are loads of professional digital art classes out there. But when I was younger and I didn't really know where to look, I would look at tutorials made by artists like Griffsnuff, who I remember I looked up to way back, but I don't think they do a lot of social media, so I don't know if there were any other platform. I just remember there were one artist that I liked when I was about 16, and they had some simple tutorials on shading and lighting and stuff that always stuck with me. They were the first person who I saw shade using pinks and purples to create a really nice effect. So that's one of the reasons I, to this day, use kind of pinks and magentas when I'm shading. When I'm shading using the multiply tool, I should say. When I'm just normally shading, I don't really use it. But yeah. Oh, sorry. Alright, I'm just gonna pop onto the overlines there for a second. I'm just gonna suggest some fingernails, you know? Hey bud, you should try fingernails. We've got a nail here. I'm gonna paint them quite dark for now, just so they stand out. There's none on the other hand, so that's fine. Cool, okay, there are the hands. Whoop. Yeah, I've never made an Eladrin before, so it's quite exciting. I don't know if I'll make them an Eladrin for sure. Yeah, I need to look up the new classes they did. I'm pretty sure I will, because they're fancy and cool. Anyway, I've realised we need to do his eyebrows. Now this character has white hair. I've done a lot of characters with white hair lately, it feels. To start off with, I'm actually going to, you guessed it, I'm going to grab a greyish pink magenta as a starting point for the eyebrows. And a hint of a fingernail, you know, barely a drop. Oh, Go IG, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I love kind of like knotty wooden textures are really good fun to random. Alright, for the actual shading, I'm just going to drop to slightly deeper, kind of pink to start with. Just to add a little shadow to these brows. And then highlights, I'm actually going to go onto the overlines to do these. Because they're going to be slightly more orangey. I'm also going to use my favourite hair rendering brush ever. Whoops, didn't mean to leave a dot there. Just because this brush allows me to get really nice crisp lines. And there we have eyebrows, so let's save again, since we've done the hair and we've done the eyes. And what time is it? Oh, we've got another 10 minutes, let's carry on for a bit longer. Grigzilla, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again on Friday. So, new layer time, we're going to call it hair, unsurprisingly. And we're just going to get stuck in by putting down the base coat for this hair. What I'm going to use, kind of like for a starting point, we'll use a purple taken from the eyebrows. And then we'll just kind of go from there. All characters with white hair start looking like James from Pokemon anime when I start painting them, because they always start with purple hair, which then becomes white hair. So my question is, my plant, kind of tropical plant inspired Eladrin, I'm torn between doing either a druid or a rogue. And I haven't decided yet which angle I want to go for. If I went druid, I think I'd go Circle of Dreams, because that's a new one I haven't tried. But I have never played a rogue before, so I have no idea what rogue subclass I would choose if I went for rogue. I'd be interested in hearing what you think of both of those options. That's true, there is also Ranger. It's really a shame that at one point Ranger was kind of not balanced with the other classes, because it's kind of permanently damaged Ranger in my mind. And made me like, oh, I don't play a Ranger, they just don't match up to other classes for like fun and excitement. But I'm pretty sure they did fix that, didn't they? Rogue Druid multi-class, that would be insane. That must have some seriously clashing stats. That's true. Gloomstalker is very cool. I love the idea of a Gloomstalker. I don't know if it would match. I don't know if it would match very well with the theme of like a very tropical Eladrin who clearly needs a lot of sun to photosynthesize. Fey Wanderer. What's that one? I'll have to check that one out. I haven't heard of that one. It might. To be fair, I haven't really stayed on top of the Ranger subclasses, so. Going to tidy up in here. There we go. Oh, we need to do these little bits, the little wiggly bits of hair. We need to just pop them in. Oh, I'll have to. I've actually got my Tasha's on my shelf next to me. I will break that out later and give it a read. Whoops, don't know why I selected the stamp tool, but there we go. You can tell I haven't read Tasha's cover to cover yet. I'm still working my way. I haven't even finished reading Rime of the Frost Maiden fully yet. And I'm running the game, so I should really finish that. Alright, let's do these two. Okay, that sounds interesting. I look forward to checking it out. That'll probably be my read whilst I cram in some dinner before I run D&D tonight. Okay, we don't actually need the palette anymore. We can get rid of that. Lovely. And now this hair layer is on. We've got a few more minutes. Let's just start on the hair, shall we? So we've got this middly shade of purple right now. As we tend towards the shadow, I'm going to tend towards slightly darker tone, darker and colder tone, sorry, more towards the blue. So I'm just going to slap that roughly on here. Yep, we're getting even more James territory, but don't worry. As we get to the lighter colours, it's going to go the other way. It's going to actually go towards orange. And this is where you start to get the slightly more platinum blonde white hair coming in. And this is super rough. I can't overstate how rough this stage is, where I'm just plonking on colours to work out the vague shape of the hair's gradient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick on a Gaussian blur, and this is where we get our nice gradient from. Often I will make it quite big. Kind of zoom out, you kind of see how it's going to work. And then I'm going to eyedrop from one of the darker parts of the gradient, switch to my hair rendering brush, and at that point I can just start rendering out the hair. And this is what will give us our nice kind of shape and flow. Wildfire Druid does look very cool. I need to make a character that kind of suits it at some point. I want more water-themed classes, not gonna lie. I'm a water baby. I love, like, I think there was a UA for, like, a water-themed sorcerer at some point. I don't know if it got added officially into any of the books, but I remember that one being very cool. Okay, I'm just going to grab a slightly darker part of the gradient as we make our way down towards hair, which is kind of already slightly darker. Oh, Cyber Spectre, thank you so much. It's kind of, the way I treat hair is, I don't think of it as individual strands. I think of it like chunks in the shape of ribbons. And if you can render a ribbon looking vaguely kind of three-dimensional, then you can apply that same knowledge to hair and get a nice kind of 3D shape. Oh my goodness, Angelus Lucis, thank you so much for the sub gift. That's amazingly kind. Hey everyone, enjoy your subs. Check out the Discord. Come hang out. And thank you so much. An ice subclass would be wonderful. Just let me be Elsa. Let me just throw ice everywhere. That'd be great. Thank you. Just gonna grab a slightly darker shadow color just to do the parts that are already quite dark. So very kind, Angelus Lucis, just knocking it out of the park as always. Thank you. Obviously there's going to be quite a lot of shadow where the ponytail meets the kind of the head and the neck, so that's going to have a lot of its own kind of shadows coming in. Like so. Kind of see how that's coming along there, looking nice and fluffy. So the next thing to do is adding highlights. So we'll grab now the opposite. We'll grab a color from somewhere that's lighter in the gradient and do the same thing before, but instead of working where the shadows are, we're popping it where the light is residing. And we'll do a little bit of that down here on the ponytail because just like I said, the ponytail has a lot of shadows. It also, because of the big kind of curly shapes it's making, it'll also have areas which hit the light. Like so. Oh, I keep saying that. So the last things I want to do is I just want to add one more layer of light to the really bright bits of the hair, give it that nice shine. After all, this hair is white and not silver, so we want to make sure it comes across thusly. Adumil33, thank you so much for joining in. See you on Friday. Have a great evening. Okay, so with that bright highlight in place, there's one more. Sorry, I lied. There's two more things we can do to get this hair looking really nice and bright. The first thing is to color the line art. When I've got really light colors going on, I often recolor the line art that's on top of it to make it kind of blend in a bit more seamlessly with the colors underneath. So we're going to do exactly that. I'm just going to scribble with this lighter purple tone on top of the line art, like so. And that's already kind of made it fade into the hair a bit more. as you can see. And the other thing, the very last thing I'm going to do before clocking off, because it is definitely my dinner time as well, this is a little trick I like to do. We're going to make a new layer above the hair. We're going to make sure it's clipped to the hair so it won't go anywhere else. We're going to grab overlay, and then we're going to grab a nice bright, kind of like honey colour. Maybe a little bit lighter. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're just going to scribble that on top of the hair wherever light is going to be catching it. This is often like the outside areas, so like so. And it's pretty rough, but what we're going to do is we're going to blur it with a Gaussian blur, Gaussian, whichever you want to call it, and that immediately makes it a lot softer. And then we're just going to play with the colours to get it to a point we like. I'm just going to basically lighten it. And that gives us a really nice, soft, kind of bit of light coming onto the top to really make it look like soft white hair rather than grey or purple or silver. And that's kind of a mini tutorial for painting white hair, I suppose. Oh, and one more thing you can do if you just want to add a bit more detail is you can eyedrop from the lightest points. I might just zoom in to make sure I get a light bit. There we go. Grab my normal brush, put it right down to a really small size, I think a 4 will do, and you can just add some little stray hairs just to make the hair look a little bit more realistic and shapely. And you can do the same with a darker colour if you want to add little stray hairs to the kind of the bits that are in more shadow, like so. I'm gonna add just a little bit more there, and there you go. That's kind of painting very light coloured hair. And yeah, that kind of subtle warmth I find is really useful for stopping white hair looking artificial. You don't want it to look like a synthetic white wig. That's kind of like one of the most important things. But yes, I think with that, it's definitely time for me to go get some dinner. So I'm going to drop some links in chat, starting with Twitter, if you want to keep up to date with when I'm streaming and my latest art and all that kind of stuff. Please check out my Twitter. Do I play D&D? Mumby15. I absolutely do. In fact, I'm about to go and run my home D&D game, which is why I have to clock off at the moment. I also have Instagram, where you can kind of keep up with my art as well. ArtStation is the best place to look at my portfolio. If you just want to kind of see art and nothing else, it's kind of the place to check out. Next up, music. If you enjoy the music in this stream, it's all by an artist named Kai Engel, and you can find their work on the Free Music Archive and also on Spotify. It's just really great ambient stuff, really. I recommend it. Next up is YouTube. I will be putting this stream up on YouTube VOD soon, so if you missed the start, want to kind of see more of this process, how I got to this result, check that out. I will also be uploading some new stuff on the channel very soon, as soon as I finish filming it, so keep an eye on that. And last but certainly not least, if you would like to support my work just a little bit more, my Patreon exists. There are various different reward tiers on there, including getting commission priority and exclusive artwork, works in progress, all sorts of goodies on there. And so with that, I will be back on Friday at 5 o'clock GMT, that's UK time. And until then, I hope you all have a lovely week. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll be back very, very soon. Bye for now.